He spent his whole life hating his father, thinking he was ignored, unloved, and abandoned. But at the funeral, he discovered the truth that destroyed him completely. Ethan's home was never loud. There were no fights crashing through the walls, no shouting, no chaos that made neighbors turn their heads. But somehow, that made it even more painful. Because the house wasn't empty of people, it was empty of connection. Every room had life in it, yet nothing ever felt alive. His father was always there physically. Ethan could hear him in the kitchen early in the morning, the soft sound of cups touching the table, the low sound of footsteps moving from one room to another. He would see him sitting in the same chair every evening, staring at nothing in particular, like his body was present but his soul was somewhere far away. They lived under the same roof, but it never felt like they lived together. There were no conversations that mattered. No "how are you, son?" No laughter shared over small things. No fatherly warmth that made Ethan feel seen. Even when his father was in the same room, it felt like a gap of miles between them. A distance you couldn't measure with space, only with silence. Ethan started noticing the smallest things as he grew up, the way his father avoided eye contact, the way he answered in short words, the way he always seemed tired even when he wasn't doing anything. It wasn't anger, it wasn't cruelty, it was emptiness. And that emptiness slowly started to shape Ethan's heart. At first, he waited for things to change, then he started hoping. And when hope kept breaking silently, it turned into confusion. And confusion slowly turned into something heavier, something bitter. Because in a house where no one speaks love, a child doesn't stop needing it, he just stops believing he'll ever get it. So Ethan stopped trying, and the silence that filled their home stopped being just silence. It became distance living in the same house. As Ethan grew older, the silence in the house didn't stay the same, it started to change shape. It became heavier, more personal, almost like it was choosing sides he would come home from school with. Things he wanted to share, small victories, silly stories, questions he didn't even fully understand himself. But every time he looked for his father, he found the same thing, a man sitting in the same space but never really there. His father would listen but not react, hear but not respond, exist but not engage, and slowly Ethan stopped speaking. Not because he had nothing to say, but because saying things into emptiness starts to feel like losing pieces of yourself. The gap between them didn't happen in one moment. It grew silently day by day through unanswered looks, unfinished conversations, and emotions that were never acknowledged. Even in the same house, Ethan started feeling like he was living alone with someone he was not allowed to reach. And that's when something inside him began to shift, not loudly, not suddenly, but quietly turning into pain that had nowhere to go. It didn't happen like a movie scene. There was no dramatic moment, no loud argument, no sudden collapse of emotions. It was something far quieter and far more dangerous. Ethan came home that evening carrying something he had waited days to share. It wasn't even a big achievement in the world's eyes, just a small success, something normal, but for him it mattered. It was one of those moments where a child naturally looks for a father's eyes first, hoping to see even a trace of pride reflected back. He walked into the house slowly, almost carefully, like he was afraid of breaking the silence itself. His father was there, same place, same posture, same distant stillness. Ethan stood for a moment, waiting for the right time, rehearsing the words in his head. He didn't even want praise. He just wanted acknowledgement, something simple that said, "I see you." He spoke, softly at first, then a little clearer, explaining, trying, hoping, but halfway through he realized something painful. His father wasn't really listening. Not in an obvious way, not with anger or rejection, worse, with absence. His eyes barely lifted. A small nod maybe, a half-second glance, then back to whatever held his attention. No reaction that matched the importance in Ethan's chest. And that's when the moment shifted. Because Ethan didn't just feel ignored, he felt like he was speaking into a space where his voice had no meaning. His words finished in the air and died there. No response followed them. No pause of recognition, no emotional connection, just continuation of silence. Ethan stood there a few seconds longer than he should have, waiting for something that never came. And in that waiting, something inside him quietly changed shape. It wasn't anger yet, it wasn't hate yet, it was something more fragile. A realization that even when he tries, even when he speaks, even when he reaches out, there is no bridge coming back to him. That night, Ethan didn't cry, he didn't shout, he didn't ask questions. He simply walked away, and for the first time in his life, he stopped expecting his father to turn around. After that night, something inside Ethan quietly shut down, not like a door slamming, but like a light slowly fading until even the idea of hope felt distant. He stopped trying to talk first, stopped sharing small things, stopped standing in front of his father with expectations in his eyes. At home, they still passed each other in hallways, still sat in the same rooms, still lived under the same roof. But now, it felt like two strangers sharing space without permission to connect. Even silence changed. Earlier, it used to feel heavy because of what was missing. Now it felt colder because Ethan no longer waited for anything to fill it. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into years, and slowly Ethan built a life where his father was physically present but emotionally erased. No fights, no closure, no explanation, just distance that became normal. And the most painful part, Ethan didn't even realize when he stopped hoping. It was an ordinary morning, nothing felt different. The world was moving the same way it always did, sunlight through the window, distant street sounds, the routine of life continuing without pause. Ethan was getting ready when his phone rang. He didn't rush to pick it up. Nothing about it felt important at first, but when he answered, the voice on the other side wasn't familiar. It was calm, controlled, almost rehearsed. And in a single sentence, everything in Ethan's world collapsed quietly. "Your father passed away last night." No warning, no build-up, no emotional preparation, just a statement that ended a lifetime of silence. For a moment, Ethan didn't move. The phone stayed near his ear, but the sound of the world around him started fading. The room didn't change, but something inside him did. Not sadness, not immediately, just disbelief. Because the mind refuses to accept what the heart was never ready for, his father, who had always been there in the background of his life, was suddenly not there at all. And the strangest part, the silence at home was now permanent. The funeral was quiet, too quiet. People stood around speaking in low voices, offering words Ethan could barely process. Everyone seemed to know his father in a way he never did, calling him hardworking, reserved, a good man. But to Ethan, he was still just a question that was never answered. He stood near the coffin, staring at it like if he looked long enough, something inside it might explain everything that never happened between them. No tears came at first, only numbness. Like his emotions were waiting for permission that never arrived. Then a man approached him, a lawyer. He held a sealed envelope and said one line, "Your father left this for you." Ethan's hands trembled as he opened it. The paper felt heavier than it should have, and when he started reading, the world around him stopped existing. Inside was a letter. "My son, I know you thought I was absent." Ethan's breath tightened. "But every day I worked more than I could bear, not because I wanted distance, but because I was trying to keep you alive." His eyes froze. "When you were young, you were very sick. I sold my time, my sleep, my strength, everything I had just to pay for your treatment." Ethan's knees weakened slightly, but he kept reading. "I came home silent not because I didn't love you, but because I had nothing left in me after fighting the world for you." The room blurred. His past started rewriting itself inside his mind. Every cold moment, every silence, every distant look was no longer what he thought it was. And then the final line, the one that broke him completely. "If I failed you as a father in your eyes, I still hope one thing, that you understand I never stopped loving you, I just loved you in silence." Ethan dropped to his knees. For the first time in his life, he cried for the father he thought never cared. But the coffin was already closed, and the man he hated his whole life had left without ever being understood. Some fathers don't show love the way children expect, but that doesn't mean they don't love at all. Sometimes love is not loud. It doesn't come with hugs, words, or comfort. Sometimes it comes in silence, in sacrifice, in tired eyes that never explain what they carried. And sometimes the biggest tragedy is not hate. It's misunderstanding someone who loved you quietly until it was too late to hear their truth. Because in the end, you don't just lose people, you lose the chance to understand them.
this story made you feel something, doesn't scroll away. Subscribe to Hidden Tear for more emotional stories that stay with you long after the end. Because sometimes the deepest tears are the ones no one sees. Turn on notifications. You never know when the next story will break your heart again.